I'm ready. Are you ready? Sorry.
That's not a problem, man. You gotta get stuff ready. That's not an issue.
All right. How you doing, Mr. Man? Now that
I'm
I'm
good,
ready to
thank you.
go. How have you been? It's been a couple weeks. You were sick or you felt ill, I should say. I wouldn't say you're sick because
What?
but you were feeling ill.
Yeah, last week there, yeah, no, I wasn't feeling up for it, but feeling good now. It's back in order. I got work going again. I was bored there for a while. But no, everything is good to go. So, and the snow's melting, which is the best part of all. Only said it can fall again in 2 weeks, but I'll enjoy it while it's gone.
Yeah, I understand. Oh God, I gotta clear my throat. I'm trying to find the exact link. Not renewing us here. A lot of articles came out about this D&D Beyond thing.
Dude, man, it was a big deal.
All right, I'm trying to figure out. Wizards of the Coast won't go forward with its open gaming license 2.0. There we go. Polygon. D&D Maker backs off new licensing rule. Damn, I don't know why it's so hard just to find what I needed. But we talked about D&D Beyond a couple times. One video really resonated with a lot of people. More so than normal. And then since then, because what was going on the last time? It was they were doubling down with everything they were doing, but they were trying to like ease the players by saying, "Oh, YouTubers, we're not going to bother you. See, here's everything we're not going to mess with," and then leaving out everything that they will mess with, which is so open and vague and like so broad. It was terrifying, right?
It was bullshit. And
Yeah.
then, like, the next week they gave up.
Yeah, it was like we released the video, and then I'm not saying like we caused them to give up, but it was the timing of it. It's like right when the video came out, like the next day. Oh, they gave up, right? Like I don't know why you guys made a video on it. That's what
Yeah,
that's what a coworker told me. I'm like, what the fuck? But
all that only to give up. At least they know now that our imaginations aren't for sale.
exactly, if they want to make a D&D Beyond like an actual primary thing, they should add gameplay to it, or they should like make a system where when you create homebrew weapons in the program, you make it physically. Like you have like a whole bunch of assets you put together and you make the weapon that way. That's how I see it. You give some interactivity on top of playing D&D if you're going to piece everything together in a price package. Like, you need more, is what I'm saying. Like, you need more interactivity and more stuff to do within your program before anybody wants to buy tiered packages. Plus, cable, it didn't work out for cable too well, so I don't know why people are still trying to do that tiered shit. But anyways, I figured we'd go through the article talking about it, starting off theREALM. So it says right here, after more than a week of controversy, Dungeons & Dragons maker Wizards of the Cucks say it's backing off plans to alter its open gaming license in a way that incensed fans and led some calling for a boycott. On Friday, Wizards issued a statement responding to a leaked draft of the open gaming license. Yeah, they say that was just the draft, and then they try to double down by saying that's only the draft. Everything's going to be okay. It's like, no, it's not. Because you're not backing off from it, so obviously the draft was true. But anyways, Wizard's statement reads like a full retreat. Oh, that's a fucking burn. Polygon is roasting Wizards of the Coast with that. Wizards' statement reads like a full retreat. When we initially conceived of revising the OGL, it was with three major goals in mind. First, we wanted the ability to prevent the use of D&D content from being included in hateful and discriminatory products. Second, we wanted to address those attempting to use D&D in Web3 blockchain games and NFTs by making clear that OGL content is limited to tabletop role-playing content like campaigns, modules, and supplements. And third, we wanted to ensure that the OGL is for the content creator, the home brewer, the aspiring designer, our players, and the community, not major corporations to use for their own commercial and promotional purposes. Alright. So have you looked up and tried to find any hateful products or content for D&D that is like widely known or watched?
Fuck no, I'll just make my own.
Well, I tried looking up like I just typed in keywords and I tried to find like huge YouTube videos or channels that were like doing Hitler campaigns or like like anything hateful. Didn't see much. Like if there was something, it was like an intentional shit post or an intentional one-off meme. And if it got thousands of views, it was like a one-off thing, and it was like, oh, this is a gag, haha. It wasn't like anybody's pushing a message that is convincing anybody to be hateful. Like if you play D&D and are swayed into a belief based off of what your your dungeon master presents you, you're a fucking idiot anyways, and there's no sense of trying to protect them. They're going to be retarded anyways. That's how I see it.
Can't protect people from themselves.
And second, we wanted to address those attempting to use D&D and Web3 blockchain. Yeah, by trying to attack content creators and charging us for our imagination, stealing the game you sold to us already, and try to take it back. Like that isn't going to protect us from blockchain. What is cease and desist and lawyer action. That's what's going to stop it. So they're wrong there. Like, that's the players is like, yeah, that sucks, but we're smart enough to not fall for it. And if we will, then we're already dumb enough to fall for that anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's D&D or not. It's probably a black pilled take, I guess. Someone's going to find issue with what I just said. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think Wizards should even give a fuck about blockchain, or do you think they're attacking the issue all wrong?
Oh, that's computer nerd shit that I don't even really understand.
I know. That's why
it's irrelevant to me. If you think it's bad, I will follow your lead on this. I don't even know what a blockchain is. I'm sure it's something complicated I don't give a fuck about. And NFTs are the gayest things I've ever heard of. Imagine owning something on the internet. You fucking idiots. So other than that, yeah, that's how I feel about those.
I got you. But you kind of gave away the dynamic here that I use you to trust you on old people shit, or not old people, boomer shit, and you trust me on millennial and zillennial or whatever the fuck shit. It's so funny. Like it's like I'm not going to research it, so I agree with you.
Fuck that. I don't care enough about it.
Yeah, I know. It's just funny.
I have enough to research. Tell me how a modulating furnace works, and then I'll fucking get back to you.
I got you. And third, we wanted to ensure that OGL is for the content creator. Well, we figured that out. That's an immediate lie, because their proposal immediately attacked content creation. Then they tried to, say, oh, no, we're not going to fuck with you guys, because here's what we're not going to fuck with. That's how you know we're not fucking with you. It's like... Well, any smart person's going to say, what is the shit you're not saying? Like, you're speaking a lot to me, but it's not saying much. And I want to know what you're trying to say without saying anything. Because that is, the terrifying aspect of it. But driving these goals were two simple principles. Our job to be good stewards of the game.
Saying that.
Oh, fuck, they need to rethink this wording. And two, the OGL exists for the benefit of the fans. No, it does not. It doesn't even benefit the homebrewers, because the fans that they want to be using their homebrew aren't going to be paying that fee to access homebrew in games. They're going to be too busy playing their 5 encounters. They will be too busy fighting one demon 5 times and then being locked out of playing forever until they just go back to pen and paper, because that's ultimately more successful. But...
or superior to play. Although I understand not everyone can find people.
That's true. But Wizard says
this all just reads like the biggest cope in fucking company history.
Well, Polygon says it's a full retreat, and I completely agree. Like, we're sorry we tried. You shouldn't be so harsh. We tried. Grandpa tried to give you a game, Johnny. It's like Grandpa fucked up and sold the grandson's Xbox, thinking that no. What happened is the grandpa got scammed out of the Xbox that he bought for his grandson, and then we're the grandson chastising, like, no, what the fuck? You're not helping. Why'd you think? That's the situation.
I think it's some corporate dick licker that's like, let's make more money. And that's how it happened.
Well, I'm calling them old school minded, but that is the same what you're saying. It still takes a corporate minded person, whether they're old or young. Fucking cunts.
Okay to want to make money, but exactly. It's not okay to try to create money that isn't there by gouging the current price, or not the current customer. Like, it's just counterproductive. Give them more things to buy. Don't penalize them for stuff that they want.
They were trying to handicap players and not the game for money. They thought what they were doing is handicapping, the game in a way where they can make more money, but what they were doing is hindering players from enjoying the base game. MMOs that, like, sell every aspect of the game to you don't even take away the main gameplay from you. Like, they're like, hey, you could play the game and the storyline, but you're not going to be able to do all this fun shit unless you pay $2 a month. At least they're smart enough to give you a game to play. You guys try to take it away from them and then dangle it in front of them for $2 a month. Yeah, that's only like $24 a year, but that's still the fact you stole a game away from them and then trying to charge it back to them. But anyways, we could. Oh,
yeah, no worries. I have more to say on that.
I know, but this isn't a direct. This
all of a sudden it's South Park.
No, I accidentally clicked. What I was trying to say, this whole discussion isn't going to be Wizards focused, or we could go on, but I think our point got across because a lot of people agreed because we explained it in a way and in such a way that we didn't handicap ourselves, we didn't censor, we didn't sound like we were scared of anything. We just attacked what we believed in, Well, we attacked something for what we believe in.
We've just read, but we haven't actually said how we feel on the situation. So how do you feel about Wizards giving in?
It hurts, dude. It sucks.
But
no, it really upset me because I look at, I always compared it to gaming, even in this first two videos, because this is something I enjoy, and this is something my friend, I met friends that played D&D, I met you through D&D, and I'd say you're a good friend of mine. I met the fuckers, and I would say they're friends of mine too, because in D&D I met them, so I consider D&D like gaming, so it is a hobby that I am passionate about. Even though I'm passionate in a different way, it's still the fact that I care, and I want to keep everything the way it works. And if they're attacking what we do and my friends' enjoyment, I'm going to be fucking pissed, because I shouldn't be able to enjoy my shit and my friends get their shit attacked. I'm not talking like a communist, but I sympathize. I sympathize is what I'm saying. It's hard to explain sympathy to people in a generation that doesn't know what sympathy is.
Oh, they sympathize. They just sympathize for the wrong things.
I know, I'm just being a smart ass. But it really pisses me off. It irritates me. I didn't get the way you would or other people pissed. Because I think I heard the irritation in your voice. I heard you you snapped a little bit when we were talking, and people were upset with that. Because the words you said, who gives a shit?
I was a little annoyed, not gonna lie.
You were right to say what you said. In the context of what you said, you were still correct. That's how I see it. In the context of what you said, you were correct. But
apologizing for it, so that's for sure.
Yeah. But it's annoying and it's frustrating. I can just put it at that. But I'm glad they stepped away from it. It's just I'm still frustrated because me being a black-pilled anti-corporate person, because I tried to do a corporate job and I hated it, I know what's going to happen next, and it's going to be a different form of monetization. I'm hoping they bring more products or a new way to game with it, so they actually have something for us, but I know what's coming next, and it's going to be something we can't fight, because they're just going to brute force it, because they're not going to let this happen again. So I hope this fight was worth it.
I think what they should do is ask the players what they want.
Yes!
It's the easiest way to make money. Ask your customers what they want.
And then you put it all together.
5 or 6 choices. Throw it on Twitter or whatever the fuck you want.
It's like a competition. You whittle it down.
Yeah. So then they can know. That's what I would do after this. Well, I would botch it this badly with fucking imagination games, but still.
I would do brackets.
The first thing they should have done was, okay, you didn't want a new license. What do you want? Because we need to make some dough here.
Video games.
And then you could meet in the middle.
And video games and IP, not IP, but Wizards of the Coast made media. And when I say that, I mean video of any kind. Not stuff other people pay to be able to make, but stuff you guys are like, you know what, let's stop fucking up D&D and actually make a cool TV show, guys. I want something like that. I don't want something like, who's that guy that's asking to meet with us? His name's Charlie. What does he want? Oh, to make a TV show? Oh, fuck it, let him pay. Tell them to pay us $100K and you can make a TV show with our license. Like, no, I want them to make something because that means that, you know, they care. They want that out there. I want them to be making. I want them to push with D&D beyond. Like, to be serious. Like, I want them to take the next step and push in like a new era for D&D, whether it's a new type of product, an addition, you know, a new way to play, or maybe just instead of having us buy third-party merchandise, equipment, items and stuff, double down on that. You know what I mean? Make action figures, make toys. You want to draw in teenagers and guys that are just
That's
turning
not doing it
teenagers.
for them, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this type of shit.
The book
Like,
thing isn't going to
obviously-
work forever. So it's like it's merchant people. Since we're a consumerist society and people like those pop action figures and stuff, you should kind of merch out like that. Don't completely sell out the GameStop Hot Topic route, but kind of pander to the teenagers. Like, the trend is like, actually it's collectible figures that everyone's going to play with like toys and pretend that they're not going to, you know, everyone
Throwing a
buys
little
those action
people.
figures, plays with them a little bit, and then they let them sit there as decoration. Everyone does that. But
you're thinking like a corporate person right now because you're not thinking about the game. Like,
well, I'm
how is
getting
that?
to that because
You gotta make money by enhancing the game. Was
you
my
dangle.
point.
Well, I know, I'm getting there.
Anyone can whore their merch out. I understand what you're saying. I'm
You
not
dangle
disagreeing.
that in front of those people that come in, and then when they're like, "What is this from?" Because that's how I find things, is through merchandise or seeing like someone talk about it, someone showing me a video they made. You know what I mean? I find out about stuff through the merchandise or the people like enjoying the merchandise. And the teenagers, they're going to be curious of where it's coming from. So you make the game not more accessible to kids, but you want to make the game more appealing. Like, you know, like, because you have minis in D&D. So what I was saying, like, you make those figures, but then you also do like minis and stuff for your game. So these kids that buy, you know, they grow up with D&D, they got their action figures, and then they get their mini, and they grow up and instead of buying action figures now, they're buying minis, they're buying dice and stuff, and then you use that for the game. Like,
They already offer those, and those aren't making them enough money, so they need to
well,
diversify.
then
Like,
you
it's
take
not an easy question. That's why I see why they did what they did. They're like, well, let's just fucking get some money from people that want to pay
the
monthly.
action
Everybody
figures
else-
tie in with that mini thing. Then instead of like focusing more on minis,
I
they
do, I'm not
focus
saying
on
you're
drawing.
wrong.
Well, I know. I'm just reforming what I said, and that's just to get eyes in. But for gameplay wise, like, digitizing is the way to go. I really do. It sucks, but it is the smart way to go. But how they paywalled everything is the wrong move. If we want to talk about how to make the game better, how playing it better, you digitize things. You don't do it all at once. You draw them in over time because you old fuckers aren't wanting to change that fast. I don't want to change. I'm about to be 30. I don't want to change shit that fast either.
And I don't think digitizing makes the game better either. I think there's
playing
ways,
it. I don't understand how to play the game.
like,
I'm sorry.
there's ways you can digitize and stay true to it. Like, they could offer more custom character sheets again, spell lists. There's still no master spell lists for most books. They could supplement where they consolidate books. There's ways to supplement and make the game better and make money. I understand books aren't the best way, but when they do supplements, they could always double up with digital copies. So then you get the best of both.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to make
sell
their peace
both.
with the fact that some people do want to hang out with buddies IRL and have
yeah.
they can do it. And I'd love custom character sheets for my stuff. Like, they used to do that all the time. And they could even switch it up from there. So then you get life counters. So rather than dice, you have like a dial or something fancy. There are other added, I'm sure, other like dice towers. There are other things for the game that you could do. As far like merch was good. Stuff that could wear around the game table, like fucking clothing. Some people like that shit. It's not for me, but I'm not going to tell other people how to game.
I
So
will
if you wanna
concede
fucking
and
hell fat, go hard. But like, they could do that type of stuff too, and that's the merch that still sells the game because you have it around the board. They could start making big custom game tables. People want to buy digitized game tables.
I
so
brought
then it
that
could
up
be
before to
loaded
you, I
with
think.
software. Yeah, and they just fucking spend 2 G's. Amazon drops it off. Drop a table or drop a TV in there. Comes with cup holders, the whole bit. You've seen them all over YouTube.
When I brought it up, I was thinking custom, but that's not practical if you get enough people. Like 2K base price instead of the 5, 10, 20K people are going to pay for those custom tables a base rate 1, 2,000, maybe 3 if it's super fancy or the deluxe edition. Bam, you got a digitized table of like touchscreen tablets, obviously. But I'm gonna concede about talk like how to make it D&D better because I did speak the corporate route. I don't know how to make the game better other than making playing better. And since you brought up you brought up a counter to going digitized, I would say tweaking this a little bit. You can either sell your books and like when you get a book, you get a code on your book where you could redeem a digital copy, and then over time make it digital, like sell coupons, advertising, I am thinking corporate. I am more of a business
See,
business
it's hard
management
not
person.
to because
But this is my background too, as
makes
being a
money.
GM and store runners
Yeah.
for things.
But as a DM, what I would like more than anything is if there was a D&D sponsored app that allowed me to share information between me and my
Oh, I
players
thought
on
of what
their
I wanted to say.
run everything through the phone. And I don't want something that I have to buy into.
Fuck
I
you
want
for
something
saying
that
what I
I
wanted
can
to say.
buy and everyone else buys their own copy. We buy it once and we can share D&D based information between it.
Make
I
like
would
a
like something.
forum type of deal where you can share. Like, see, I would
Well, no,
say,
more along the lines of I could do live. It basically what I want what Roll20 is, like all the tools that Roll20 has, like they keep track of initiative, blah blah blah. I'd love something like that would run from my phone to all the other phones, and then I could also share pictures that way. So this is what you all see. I like this because have you ever played Jackbox?
I've seen people stream it.
Okay, so Jackbox, you have one off your TV. The TV shows all the information, has a code. You put the code in, it goes to its website, and then you run everything off of it. So the DM could say this person's turn on the master phone, or even a laptop. We'll say
Yeah.
that laptop. You click on someone, the information goes to their phone. It'll say your turn, and then it'll flash from there, and then their character sheet comes up with relevant information for that minute. And something like that would truly make the game go faster.
It's
They could sell
making it more
modules for
MMO
that,
like.
but it's interactive to the people around the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
table. And
yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
that's all I'm getting at. Maybe something like that already exists, but I don't know it exists. But that would be something off the top of my head that would help me as a DM.
Well, to explain your idea in more of a practical way, like what you said, that's kind of turning D&D into an MMO thing where, in theory, if you had all the character, enemy information, DM designed everything, typed it in the computer, like whatever app, like just blank boxes, they type all the relative information, and everyone's phone has like, okay, so this is what's going on in the dungeon, and then as you guys play, you manually move your piece, and then it updates to the app. So if someone's in the
I don't want to run the map through it. I think that would be a
well,
bit too. But now you're thinking upgrades, right? So then they do it. Basically, I'm asking for a mobile Roll20 is what I'm kind of
okay. Well, I'm gonna
thinking.
be we could dive through a little bit of Roll20 because this is relative to our show and
I don't want to
gaming in
shove those
general.
posers out because they had a huge information leak.
Oh, see, it looks like a video game. There's a couple programs on Steam that I was talking about where you could build a whole campaign, kind of like Divinity 2 Original Sin. But this looks similar too. But what I meant to say, like my idea from a few minutes ago, when I was like, oh, was you design an app kind of like D&D Beyond, but you're the account holder that pays a fee can change anything about your character. It's like kind of like an honor system, and everybody's character is put in a database, so you can check. You can look up your friend's character, even if they're lying about their numbers or they're not. It's up to them to put in there, but it still tracks a leaderboard. So anybody can say, "Oh, I got 3 million kills" as a joke, but it's still a system where people that are playing honorable have your stats, and you guys are tracked in a world. So in theory, all these D&D universes are in one world, so it could connect to everyone and enhance gaming by adding a little bit of immersion, but you don't affect anybody else's game unless we can think of a way that, people can. Or maybe you could trade between characters, you keep track of your items, you on a piece of paper saying, I traded it with a mystery man we met traveling to this place. But then in reality, it's you had a homebrew weapon in your campaign and you traded it to your buddy. Maybe something like that, where it's kind of combining all the ideas but making it player controlled. Because if Wizards of the Coast control it, no one can change any information, and they'll lock everything in and generate it through the app itself. And I
We
don't
don't
like
want
that.
them to have control though.
Yeah,
They
that's why
sell
I
the
want the
product
player.
once it works. If you want to buy modules for it, you buy them. They piss off in between, and Bob's your uncle.
Or you
And
just
then
make another Neverwinter Nights, but have it just entirely like being able to play D&D that way.
I don't know.
But
I
also
mean,
make your
it'd be a
books
place.
and your
I'm sure a
minis
lot
and
of
shit.
people like that.
And there's a
Really, if
lot
they
of
want,
things they can do. Sorry, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
that's fun.
Oh, this is Pathfinder. So I'm just clicking these pictures to see what the map's like, and it looks like I'm getting into some Pathfinder too. Or is
I
this
used
just...
it exclusively for a year. I really enjoyed it when I did use it, but I just found it more trouble than it was worth in the end. We're having far more fun with just a whiteboard and
Yeah.
some fucking drawing. If I
Steam.
need to actually know where stuff is, I have grid paper that I can draw an actual map on, and I'll keep track of it that way.
Well, there's
But I haven't had
Tabletop
to do that too
Simulator. There's a couple apps on Steam that you can pay, and it's a video game, but you also can run D&D kind of that way. And there's
much.
also
That's not
a
at all.
D&D
That's not at
program.
all what I
I
like.
know.
That was not what I was getting into. This is what you were talking to with all the upgraded stuff. That's what we're looking at right now. All I wanted was a way for the DM to share information only. They still have their character sheets and stuff, and everything is still tabletop based. But when it comes to pictures of the monster and how much damage you take and stuff like that, it would be nice to send it to the players because it also allows you to do secret checks and send them the results, and you
Yeah.
can kind of keep it more characterful that way too.
You
That
store
was
your
just a
Perennia map.
of like something that could help me immediately.
I understand. I get what you're saying. And you're a DM that has years of experience, and I am an MMO player that is an anti-corporate person. Oh shit!
Corporate
I guess
like
that's why
term,
I hate
man. It's
corporations
really
so
vague.
much because it draws the evil suit guy, the white suit, the white guy.
The problem is they're successful and they've brought us a lot of cool stuff. If you say you hate them, you can't really hate them because video games are corporate games, right?
Yeah,
And
in
D&D
theory,
is
yeah.
technically corporate because it's Hasbro. I'm pretty sure that's a corporation. So all of our favorite stuff, Marvel, all of our favorite stuff in pop culture comes from corporations. So it's hard not to think that way because they've taken these things and they've added that flair that those fucking giant companies do, and they've made these things into just multi-billion or million dollar industries. So I mean, it works. The proof's there. Problem is, you kind of sell the soul of the game as you go up. So
Yeah.
it's like the more popular you are, yeah, there's more of it, more people like it, you're making more money, but like the soul of the game goes, and that happens to video games. I remember far more detail in older games in some ways.
I was talking. Me and my brother have this like love for like our early gaming days when he was like we were both younger. When I was watching G4 and Machinima and shit, and we were talking about like our favorite gaming memories, and like it's a lot of the times I don't even remember gameplay. I remember moments like, oh, I remember I was playing this game and I choke slammed you in WWE Raw for the original Xbox, and you fell through the Hell in a Cell and you laughed so hard you started coughing and you puked. You know, like we was talking about how I can remember very very specific moments when I was really young or younger, more so than I can remember gameplay from games I really loved back in the day. Sorry, it's not really what you were saying, but you know we're talking about memories and you know old shit. Old. And
All
there's
over the place tonight.
yeah.
Who needs a fucking schedule, right?
You know what? It's been a while since we talked, and we're talking gaming. You know, Wizards of the Coast. Actually,
I like
this
shooting the
is
shit. That's what I was saying.
yeah,
This is one
fucking.
thing to another.
And I have been able to touch on a couple of the subjects and topics I wanted to just through talking about Wizards of the Coast. You know what I mean? But like, fuck. I asked you to. All right, let's move on to the gaming thing. I gave you an assignment. I asked you to find an upcoming 2023 release and see if the trailer or gameplay would interest you in buying if you were in the market for a video game. Did you get a game at all?
I'm actually gonna go with one that you already suggested. So I looked at the Harry Potter
Okay.
ad because I've already watched the gameplay, and the gameplay makes me want to, but I don't like paying new game prices.
Understandable.
I don't.
So, what was
All
it, the
video
trailer or the gameplay that really interests you?
gameplay. The trailer just it's like
Yeah.
a movie.
All right. I might as well point out
It's the
because
same shit. Gameplay is what you play a game for. You don't play the game for the trailer shit. Plus, I mean, I come from an era where they lied about every video game in a
Oh my
trailer.
god, yes. Oh yeah, and also like 10 years ago, you also went through that. Oh, we're going to release the game half developed, and as long as it's with the deadline, or we're going to release the game and then fix it through expansion 6 months down the road, and we're going to charge you another $70.
And you know who the kings are of having
EA.
awesome trailers and having shitty games are early access games. They just seem to have the kick-ass trailers, and then the games rarely add up to that very first trailer.
Are we talking about on average or just completely?
Just on average from what I
Okay,
picked.
I was because I was literally going to argue, but you know how I am. I dive deeper into games than most people do. But let's watch the Hogwarts trailer. It's only a minute 20.
Take this. Find them.
The cool part about where this, I watched a video that compares the I guess the Harry Potter world
With the game
movie, and then they compare it to the game locations. And this one's really cool. The one in the movie kind of looks gay, but this one is fucking cool.
Oh, dude, I love it.
They do the Owl Tower, or Owlery, I think it's called. It's pretty neat.
I was told this Hogwarts Legacy is a very, very early prequel. Like, it takes place before a lot of those people are even, like, their parents are alive. I don't know how early from the movies it takes place, but I know it's a prequel, so they're able to do all this stuff and be all, like, combat heavy, monster heavy, because it's a prequel. They can develop the lore later. Not the lore
years
later.
100 years.
Oh, okay. That's really early.
So it's 100 years earlier, and stuff like Hagrid's shed, where there's 2 parts to the shed. They haven't actually built the second part. There's parts of the school that haven't been built yet. It's pretty cool.
That's interesting. So if you're a fan of the movies or watch the movies and then you play the game, it's like, oh, this is what happened before. Oh, you get that extra bit of immersion and love. That's what I like about like some MMOs and some video games, man. The fact that it's a prequel. But I like to talk about Hogwarts because I even talked about it on Tism, and Skullkid had to argue with me about the game. But my point is Hogwarts Legacy, because I pay attention to gaming, so I look back on the years of game releases that I went through, I've experienced. Hogwarts Legacy released without a major day one patch or viral videos of game-breaking bugs, compared to other games that do. At least personally, I haven't seen any, and I usually get like the viral shit sent to my feed because that's what I watch. As because I'm a nerd.
That's actually significant and worth pointing out.
Yeah, it's so I don't know how hard it is for developers to release a game that's completed, that has content, that doesn't need to hold off on whole major gameplay functions for a couple months so they can fix it and finish it, like GTA heists and other games in their major features. It's just crazy. And Hogwarts released to huge criticism only because of J.K. Rowling. It released to a lot of hate, and it was number 1 on Twitch before it officially released. That is significant. That just, I would say 2, 3, 4 years ago, that wouldn't happen. This game would have probably flopped because of a review bomb, just bots and people. But people played this game. I bought this game because of the hate it got. Alright, so is there any specific gameplay video, or you just clicked on a random one and got interested?
I watched a guy play it. I watched Juice play it. And I watched the video that compares the locations.
I watched Jersh. Oh, it's 19 seconds. Oh, dude, is this stream gone? Oh,
What stream?
He streamed. Josh streamed Hogwarts Legacy, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I'm gonna try to find the stream unless it gets nuked. Yep, it got nuked. Oh,
Yeah, he
damn.
probably doesn't save them.
Yeah, damn it.
Because remember,
Alright.
they're always after him, so they'll go after the whole stream.
Alright, so Hogwarts Legacy gameplay. Oh shit. I'm autistic, hold on. So, like, Hogwarts Legacy, though, I bought it because, 1, I was told it's an open world RPG, and 2, I was told the combat is very smooth and robust. And I completely agree. I played this already on stream this specific video twice already. I think I played this on one of a realm or just a random conversation we had. But I know I played this specific video because it's like stealth and in combat. But I love the graphics, man, because it's not like Forspoken, which is a game that released a couple weeks ago, that is like so processor heavy that my PC runs slow when I play it. It's not optimized at all for AMD, I feel. But it's just amazing that this is a next generation game. The graphics are great, the gameplay is great, and there's so many mechanics and small details in this game that you're surprised. Like, I'm personally surprised they're able to make the world look like this, as full as this, and also have the stuff they do in the game. Just compared to usual. Usually developers go neither graphically or they go for gameplay if it's an open world game, you know? Do you notice things like that, or what's your take, if you have one?
You're so much more in depth about this.
I know.
I never know how to fucking follow you up. Honestly, the cool parts of the game to me are how it stays true to the lore. It looks like every MMO I've ever played, where you run around, there's bars above, and then you have a hot bar.
It's familiar.
So, in that, it's very familiar in that sense. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like that. Other than that, like I told you when you asked me, I was like, the game doesn't overly interest me. I did like Harry Potter. I read all the books, watched all the movies, my old lady, blah, blah, that type of stuff. But playing as a character in that world does not appeal to me. But it looks like there's a lot of stuff to do. And the cool part to me is the broomstick riding. It seems like you get to ride your broomstick quite early.
There's a couple mounts you can get. A broomstick is one.
There's more than a broomstick?
Yeah, I've seen a video where a dude was riding like some kind of fucking horse. What?
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
I've seen a broomstick. That's cool.
Yeah, but I wanted to say in this game, like, you can see right here, there's a bird. There's a bird you can fly. But this game, when you brought up like how it has MMO like features, I like this game because I did describe it. It feels like a regular RPG, like an adventure RPG, but in Harry Potter. And I wasn't saying that to be insulting. I was saying that to people because, like, sometimes these games are very niche when it comes to, like, already known IPs. But this game released to be a familiar RPG, and it laid groundwork for them to make another game where they can actually push the envelope and add more wild mechanics, like, just things that a typical RPG wouldn't have. And, like, I just think this is, like, as a nerd that loves quality video games, this is a gold standard for a successful average game. For a successful launch, for a successful playing game, this is like the gold standard just for the average RPG, in my opinion. That's a hot take.
Just looking at it, it's got everything is familiar for the controls. I think we've now reached a point in video games where the formula's there.
Yes.
You can rarely do that better. So
if your open controller mapping.
Like, and it also saves the developers time. If they know all these controls, it already works, and everybody already does that, that's a huge chunk taken out of what they have to do. They just replicate it on their own terms, and then they can work from there.
And when I say, like, for people that are going to be listening to this, I don't mean like this is the greatest game in the world. I'm just saying for a gold standard for an average RPG, this is it. It doesn't. I don't think it does anything too perfect. I haven't got too deep in the game. But the combat feels very fluid, much more fluid than games like New World, which is an action MMO, where like the combat is similar to this, but it's not as fluid. Like, this game is just really good. It's well designed, and that's what I love about it.
Looks fun.
But
definitely.
I'm glad the gameplay is what interests you, because I just want to get an idea of what draws people in, and sometimes it's trailers for people. Like, some video game trailers really gets me hyped, but I always follow it up with like gameplay. Like, you can name a video game that I own, and you'll see, like, I'll type in the name, and then there'll be gameplay followed behind it, because I've already watched gameplay, just to see if it's worth buying.
Video game trailers are like getting smashed at the bar and taking a chick home. When you wake up in the morning, you still hope it's really good. So it's like, you gotta go into it. And if you depend on the trailer, you might not like what you wake up with in the morning. But if you go after something sober and you see what you get, you kind of like it more. And I just like the sober take on video games.
That's a good way to put it. Like, as quote unquote raunchy as it is, that's a good way to put it. It's the trailer, like the trailer can get you hype and excited, but when you're watching gameplay, it's like just a game. It's just gameplay. It's not like exciting music. It's not to get you amped and for a payout. It's here's what the game offers. So I like that. I like that. You know, I'm saying it in very like plain terms, but I liked what you said. And I also want to point out that how we decided like to get a game isn't what normal people do, which is go look at reviews or see how many more people say it's good versus bad, or they, you know, or and we didn't go off our favorite YouTubers quote. Like, I hope no one goes out and buys this game because I said it is like a gold standard for a regular RPG. Like, I don't want anybody to buy anything because of something I said. I want them to use what I said to help form an opinion, you know? I want more people to research a video game to determine it's worth paying for. Because some people will buy a game because of a trailer, and then they next thing you know, they're reviewing it saying, this is a piece of shit, I want my fucking money back. Fucking assholes, this game sucks. And they'll have like 0.5 hours played. I hate that. I hate it so much. But I want to increase the standard for deciding a game's good or bad.
I always like it when there's like 70 or 80 hours on record, and then they're like, this game sucks. It's like, if you hated it, why did you play it for 70 hours?
So there's a game that, yeah, I agree. I love reading those reviews, but I also take those reviews more so than my favorite YouTuber, even if they're funny and I agree with the YouTuber's opinion. I personally just can't go off of their word. Because during the time Gamergate happened, I was just leaving gaming and getting into drugs and stuff. But before then, I would listen to G4X play Attack of the Show, or I would watch Machinima, and I would listen to what they say about games. And there's a lot of games I didn't like because they said they were bad. And then it's like, I'm fucking stupid. And then I learned that a lot of those people are for the money, especially since I'm doing YouTube now. It kind of, and I talk to a lot of YouTubers, it kind of reaffirms my position that not every YouTuber, no matter how, you know, middle of the road or unbiased they seem, they have an angle for why they're saying what they're saying. Not many actually care about game quality and standards. And you know they do when they actually talk about quality and standards, like nerds. Those fucking losers.
This game launched without bugs. That's a significant thing.
Yes. I've encountered a couple bugs, but none of them were game breaking. Like, and I complain about that shit now, especially since I do videos. I haven't seen anything go viral about, like, nothing like Fallout 76 or Division or fucking, what is it, any EA release, like, what is it, Assassin's Creed. But this game came out on PS5 last year or the year before, I think 2021. But it finally came out on PC, and it's called Returnal. It's like a third-person shooter similar to like what a Dark Souls is, where you fight a boss and then you die. But there is kind of like a...
That's what Dark Souls is? You fight a boss and you die?
Yep.
That's pretty good.
I'm really good at melting things down. But let's watch the trailer, and then I'll show you the gameplay, because the gameplay actually elaborates what the draw is, in my opinion.
Scout log. 30 minutes since last crash. This is my 10th return.
I don't care about
what is
any
this
of this.
cycle I'm trapped inside?
There we go. So, as you can see, the point of the game is you kill bosses, you go through levels, but the main thing is when you die, you respawn, but you respawn in a whole, like, the world changes. It, like, generates every life, every level is a new generation. It's kind of like Remnants from the Ashes. But as you can see...
That's actually cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool concept. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, and it's like Remnants from the Ashes, or like Outriders, the third-person shooter. You kill monsters, you go through the level, and you go through the world. But this one it's generated. You fight your bosses, you do all that as planned, but the world and the monsters getting to that point are different. And then when you die, that's the end of your life. You start from the beginning. So it's kind of, it has that old school, you know, that old school like 90s, 80s game mechanic where when you die, you start the game from the beginning. No save points. I like that idea. I think you do save until you die. But it just came out.
That's an intriguing concept. You sure have an eye for this shit. I've never heard of a game like this.
That's what got me interested, but it was only PS5, or I would have got it on PS4. And usually when I say gameplay, anything that's called Returnal gameplay has no commentary. Alright, so let's skip ahead. So there is a lot of story to the game. I heard the story is pretty interesting. I like this because it's a Lovecraftian concept. And I think more Lovecraftian ideas, cosmic horror ideas, need to be introduced in regular video games, not just horror. So you can build ambience and, you know, all that horrifying stuff while also being an action game. The stuff that makes Resident Evil good. Yeah, I'm letting my nerd shit fly tonight. Sorry, Mr. Man, I didn't warn you.
That's fine.
See, this is why I like having you. Like, you're just a good person to talk to about this because you have a different perspective. You're from technically a different generation of gamer, in a school of thought. So having you on
doesn't
here,
want a game anymore.
but having you here gives me you give me a hobbyist gamer perspective, but someone that's like not in tune with like the culture like I am. You're just a hobbyist gamer. And I like that because you're informed, but you're not nerdly informed.
Problem is, I haven't played a video game for more than 2 hours in 2 weeks.
I know.
Period. I'm on a dry spell, right? I just don't want to play them anymore. I'm enjoying working out, though. Much more fun.
But everything we talked about led me to that conclusion, and I think
Yeah,
I kind of nailed it.
I just feel a little bit like a fraud is all I'm getting at. Like I barely game anymore. But yeah, I'll still talk about games always. Like, don't get that impression. It's just, yeah, I don't look at them and I barely want to play them anymore, but I can give you the old timer perspective.
That's good. Alright, so let's see the gameplay here. I skipped ahead. This is a 5-hour gameplay. I don't think the game's 5 hours long. If it is, this person's a professional. Oh, that's a boss. Ugh.
That's actually kind of cool.
I like it because it's kind of like a Dead Space type of deal with the sci-fi shooting, but it also has that near automata bullet hell. You know, that in that game, if you watch any video, bosses would shoot thousands of huge projectiles that you had to dodge or block or shoot down. This combines a lot of RPG aspects I like, and a lot of third-person shooter aspects. Modern gaming is nailing it, dude. I can't believe people are still saying games suck nowadays. There's no good game coming out. It's a lie.
There's just not as many big
Stuff they
ticket
like.
ones. You gotta look right. But even then, I'm with them.
They're console
My
exclusives.
genre is. This year's supposed to be good. There's supposed to be a lot of good games this year. So let's see.
But my thing is, people that call these games bad or like, you know, gaming sucks nowadays, I want people to not listen to that as like fact because it's a matter of perspective. Like, you don't like any games that's came out the past few years. It doesn't match your standard, your quality, and that's understandable. But like a lot of these YouTubers, older YouTubers that I've stumbled across will say shit like this, and it's like, dude, you're being so disingenuous. Like, if you want gaming to be better and to, you know, things to improve, don't need to be saying shit like this because then you're going to get your people to actually believe that as fact. And if any of them become a YouTuber, they're going to repeat it, and it's just going to be something that people take as fact. A saying that always seems to be a fact whenever like the publicity doesn't, you know, the public doesn't like something specific. But like, gaming is good. It's getting better. It's just consumers accept terrible release you know, they have terrible standards for game releases. You know, and people don't vote with their wallet. As we could see with D&D Beyond, if you vote with your wallet, it fucking works. You point out what you're doing, and then when you do it, you gotta do it, and you gotta stand by it, which is boycotting, not buying that shit. But that's just me ranting. See, I'm nailing all the points I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, we should also touch Darktide before we end too. But this is some of the gameplay. This is a boss fight. I'll skip ahead to regular gameplay. These boss fights are just like a Dark Souls boss if you're just a regular gamer. It's Souls-like in the aspect where it has different stages and mechanics you gotta understand and learn. But the cool thing about this game is that the bosses are different because it's randomly generating. It's a roguelike game. But these big boss fights are cool, dude. I like the pixels. Not the pixels, the artifacts, the magic or whatever, the sci-fi effects. I can't speak. Unlike the master of saying so much but saying nothing at all.
Watching the gameplay.
Me too. I want to say that for this one, the gameplay would interest me. I think probably you too.
Whole lot going on. Actually, I do not enjoy these types of games. I'm terrible at them. But I'll watch people play them. Oh yeah, that's fun.
Alright, well,
it's cool.
So drawing you in to watch it would be the gameplay. Because the trailer, it showed everything that it should. The trailer was nice. It just focused so much on the NVIDIA enhancements. Because that's the stuff that a lot of NVIDIA cards can deal with. Like ray tracing and shit.
I saw the controller and I was like, yeah, it's a fucking controller. I don't care. And just watch the gameplay.
Yeah. But this is Returnal. I'm going to be playing it on my channel once I get done with the other videos I've been working on. Like, I've been banking a lot of footage and stuff to edit. I just haven't been uploading anything. And I realize now it's been like 10 days since my last upload. This is going up like tomorrow, the 17th. But the last thing I wanted to talk about was Riptide. And that was purely for a follow-up on me and your discussion a long time ago. What is it?
Darktide.
Darktide, damn it. I always say Dead Island, Riptide, Darktide. Goddamn.
Yeah, from what I hear, the player base is in a slump. Yeah.
Ooh,
I mean, some people, it's always right. Like, just the player that I follow who plays it says it's in a slump and he hasn't picked it up in a little while because he got burnt out on it quick and he didn't have much more to do.
Is it
It's
someone
pretty
I know?
hollow game. His name is Okoi.
Oh, okay,
Okoii. He does a lot of Warhammer fantasy videos, like Doomstack videos. He's good shit.
On launch, 107,000. Last 20 minutes, 3,000. Well, almost 4,000. So yeah, it's
You can just see the graph. The graph just dwindles.
I want to point something out about Steam population. I know this website isn't completely accurate. So when you go to this website, not everything is going to be accurate. Because I've played some MMOs where this Steam population will only graph one person logging in the last 24 hours. But I will be in a major hub city with at least a good 100. That is not a lot for an MMO, but Steam population can get that many people off. Like that, you know, they can get that much data wrong. So when you come to the Steam charts, sometimes it's not always accurate, but for the most part, we could still know that somewhere from 100,000-ish players down to 4,000-ish players, that's a major drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even if we're not getting accurate numbers, it's still dictating that it's such a significant drop. Even if the numbers are wrong, it's still bad.
Yeah, it's not so
It's
out
terrible.
of the realm. Like they might plus minus 20% at tops, but it's still a significant. So to go back in time, I was right, and I'm happy I didn't buy it. Woo!
Yeah, because I was scared to tell you that I think we should hold off. Well, I'm going to hold off on it because of issues. But then when I brought it up, you're like, oh yeah, I agree. And it's like, oh fuck. It's the problems are that bad. Everybody is aware of it. Oh damn, 4K negative reviews, and then the most recent 54,000 all time. That makes sense. So half the people that bought the game reviewed it, which means that half the people care.
Well, half the people also want a fucking finished game, no crafting, you dickholes. I still can't believe they released this game
Here for 40 hours. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This is funny. I'm gonna read
440 hours, not recommended.
Yeah, so,
had enough.
Alright, had enough. Darktide 2 is 2 months old, and as of this review, it has not received the significant updates it deserves, which is crazy because that's what we were waiting for Christmas on. Yep. And we even still decided to wait because nothing came out. The fixes it temporarily needs or any of the attention that live service demands. Ooh, so even just playing and logging in is terrible. Since the beta versions of this game, the community has screamed out about one particular enemy being almost unplayable. Fuck, my monitor's going out. It glitches, it's almost impossible to dodge or avoid. Fat Shark's answer to this issue and problem was to make a modifier that increases the amount those enemies spawn. Wow. Then they had left it as the only modifier over for the past 5 weeks now. Done, sick of it. Oh, so they added a modifier and just said, fuck it, we don't want to touch the game anymore? That's crazy. It's like plumbers saying, all right, I need to go back to the office to grab this thing, and they just never come back. They had someone come in over Christmas to switch the real money cash shop over to the next rotation, but not maps. Oh, so their live service thing is not even being updated on launch. Fucking Anthem has better updates than this. And Anthem is dead almost. It was a game EA launched that died immediately. This is where the game has come to a negative score for me. Wait, hold on. They had someone... I already read that. This is where the game has come to a negative score for me. I have to defend it. I have defended it, stood by it, shouted out about how much great potential it has. Only to week after week be not only disappointed and let down by the devs, oof, or left frustrated and mad. Anger isn't enough either. It's just utterly piss poor. That I can just stop reading right there. It's that you're reading this person tell you that he lost hope.
This guy really didn't want to write this review. I think
He didn't. And
he is fucking
it
going
actually
hard.
upsets me to read this. Like, not because he's saying it, it's because I know what he is feeling. And it hurts, you know? Like, if you actually are, if you're big into a game, a series, like Warhammer has been out just like, not, I don't know how long, but almost as long as D&D, I'd assume. And people love that thing. Like, some people grew up in it, their families' lives are 40K. To play a game that you've been hyped up for and then play that long, and then to find out, oh, we love the game more than the people making the money off this game do, or this IP do, and that sucks. Have you ever experienced that? Like, some people just kill something you love?
Oh yes, all the time. It was called comics. It was a bunch of...
There we go. We could get down that rabbit hole another day, talk about comics.
We're stopping right there. Talking about comics just angers me.
Alright, so Fat Shark are the worst developer company I have had the misfortune of being a fan of. I enjoy most of the core gameplay from their games, but almost nothing else. The way they implemented the features into a game is not just backwards, but it almost always a complete headache, a logical mess that only further disrespects the player. Ouch. Darktide is a huge factor to that right now. We were promised new maps and modifiers in December. We only got more dogs and a almost mirror reflection of a previous map. Typical Fat Shark style here, claiming reverse maps as new maps. We were supposed to have a crafting system by the end of December. We don't, even at the end of January. That's significant because we specifically stated this is the main reason why I didn't come into the game. The deciding factor, because it's the biggest feature that they left out, which that threw a red flag. A ref walked up, punched me in the face, and fucked my girlfriend. That's how much of a red flag that got thrown at me that day. That was a little bit too much. We were supposed to have a crafting system, but as I write this, a statement was released about making another statement at the end of the week. They said the last week as well, and as of no surprise, we have no updates or fixes on the day. I can't read. So they've pretty much just been lied to. The developers are too lazy to be fucking lazy. That's crazy.
Well, there could be more going on too. For all we know, they had a personnel change.
I will say,
it was Christmas, so they wouldn't have had everyone in the office. Maybe, who the fuck knows?
I will say, every Warhammer game that's come out that's been a multiplayer game almost always fails. Just because the developers don't put love into it. We had that Warhammer PvP game. It was like you versus orcs. It was like Call of Duty, but Warhammer 40K. I forget what it's called. It's free to play.
Yeah, I've watched guys play it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's like, oh, it's Warhammer 40K Battlefield is what I know it as.
Dark Crusade.
Yeah, you could play online, but it takes hours to get into a server unless you and a whole bunch of people decide to log in at the same time. It's so hard to get into a game. And like the developers released it and did nothing with it, and they even called it an MMO and marketed it as an MMORPG when it's a shooter. It's an FPS. It's a fucking military simulator almost. It's Warhammer 40K Battlefield 4. But the developers shit the bed on that, and a lot of the other Warhammer 40K games, excuse me, they launched and the developers just fucking took a shit in the bed and said, you know what, we took all the money we got out of you, we don't need any more. Which is crazy because 40K is all about spending your money to play. So they should develop really good games that really, you know, that playing the game is so good and fun that players are just giving you money for any reason.
It's so much wasted potential.
Yes.
So much.
Everything
if they'd
I
have
just
come out
said.
strong, like say Harry Potter,
Yeah.
maybe they should have themselves a little scandal. Who knows?
Oh man, but anyways, that's all the gaming stuff. Like, I mean, there's so much more we could riff on, but I like to keep it an hour with you because you're busy and I'm busy.
About an hour. Well, it's also late where you are, right?
Yeah, it's like 10:30. But I plan on before the next like time we do Underdorks, I do want to get together and do more video game riffing. But I'm gonna try to think of like I've been saying this, but I'm trying to think of a subject where I know you can riff on very well, and I don't need to keep like explaining things to you. You know, I know I didn't have to today, but I still did to help you understand what I'm talking about.
I don't mind if you explain, because I have to explain D&D to you all the fucking time.
I know, but we're gonna do another one of these. But I like doing the realm. We need to do more so we could supplement that. Like not supplement, but get a catalog like we do with the Underdorks. Because I like talking about video games, man.
We do have to talk about that next time because I'm getting really far ahead now and I don't want to forget anything.
Oh, for sure.
Both the random encounters and their settlements are going well.
That's good. Well, we need to talk about them setting up their settlements too. Their settlements, not sentiments.
It wasn't too much because I do the majority of the work. I just kind of gave them an idea how it works, and then it's just the starter package, so everybody's settlement's the same. But yeah, we'll talk about that next time on Underdork.
I will say this game looks like Space Hulk Deathwing, which is the other Darktide type game. Like it was like Left 4 Dead, but Warhammer 40K. The only difference between this game and that game is this game's supposed to have crafting, and the maps are like more out, like wide open with cover, whereas Darktide was more not Darktide. Space Hulk was more like corridor based.
Yeah, that's just how the Space Hulk works. But anyway, we should stop it here.
Anyways, so, thanks for coming by. Not coming by. Thanks for talking, Mr. Man. You have a good one.
I did come by to the VC.
But thanks, not Wanderers. What are our fans called? Thanks, adventurers, for listening. If you have any suggestions for topics, drop them below. I know. Well, this is the realm and also Underdorks because we talked video games and D&D. So, you know what? Good dudes. You guys are default good dudes. Shout out GDGDs. Thanks for listening. You guys have a good one. Suggest topics below. Peace.